Welcome to Front-End Web Development. In this video, we will learn about forms and how do you take data from the user. Forms is a web page where it is used to collect the data from the user. The collected data is given to the server for further processing. This further processing can take data to the database or try to do validation or try to do according to the business logic what has to be done on the collected data. You might have noticed this before many times where you'll be submitting your data like username, password, your date of birth, your gender, and likewise. Whenever you click on the submit button over there, the data which you have supplied through the form fields will be given to the server and the necessary action would be taken care by the server. Let us see how do you take the data from the forms. Heading back to VS Code, let's create a file called form.html. Let us create a form demo. Form can be done by using the form element. Form element would take different attributes. These attributes often referred as arguments. The first important argument to be noticed is action. Basically, this is the page you need to give here where your server code is being written. Example, if I'm assuming my server code is being saved with a file called server.php, writing with a node, you might be giving the server.js, where actual business logic would happen. The other important attribute is method equals to. Now, the method would take two different values. One is get, other one is post. Whenever you use the value as in get, the data which you are collected through the form will be shown on the URL, will be concatenated to the URL. Let us try to demonstrate that. Label for, let me collect the username, input, ID equals username, and name equals username. On a similar note, let me take password. Input type equals password. ID equals password. Name equals password. Like ID and the name are used to identify this element. Let me have another type. There is a button called submit. If you click on submit button, the data would be passed to the server.php in this example. My submit button. Save the file. Let's run the file. Let me give something like my name, and let me give the data password as my password. Click on submit. You notice there it is been redirected to the server.php, and the data which you have passed through the data form data, it's been appended to the URL. You see that it is in sensitive data. It has been concatenated to the URL. Anybody sitting next to you can look at your passwords. And whenever you write method equals to get, that kind of a data can be bookmarked. So make sure that you not use get most of the times. Heading back, we'll use post. Let's look back. Is it doing the same behavior this time? If I give the data something like my name again, password as 12345, you see that it's heading back to header server.php, but the data is been not appended to the URL. We are getting this page is not working right now because we did not write the code for server.php. Don't worry about that now. Going back, if you look at this, my input type is text here. If you did not mention anything, the type by default that would be the text. On the line 13, input type equals to password. I wanted that to be taken as in password. Likewise, we have different form fields. Now like URL, action equals to URL is one of the argument. We looked at method equals to get, and we looked at method equals to post. And there is another attribute or argument is called target, which is similar to the anchor tag which we looked at in the last video. Target equals to blank will open your server.php in the new window. Target equals to top will open on the current window. Here are the list of few form elements where form, which is used to start your form, input, which will try to take your text data. Text area would be trying to take your comments. You might have noticed this many times. In a form, you'll be giving some lines of comments that can be done by using text area. Let's head back. Input type equals text area. If you look at this, ID equals to text area, or let me give that as a comment. Name equals comment. Head back to the browser. You notice that. And you see this. You might be wondering why there are two fields over here. How do you differentiate where I need to pass my password? There comes into the picture our label button, please. Label defines the label for the input element. Let us give that label for equals comments and give the name for it comments. Let's look back. There's a field set and legend. Often you might have noticed this in many of the forms. For example, look at my right hand side where you're trying to take the user data which I'm trying to group over there. How do you group few of the form elements? For example, you might be taking the personal information and I wanted to group that under one group. Then you will go with an field set. Whenever you would like to take educational details from the user, you will name that as an educational details. And you would like to take the data under the group called educational details. Then please use field set. Let's try to create an example for that. Password. Comments, let me try to keep them as in one group. So to do that, let me create the field set where I'll be keeping closing that here. And we have another thing called as a label, which is a form element again. I'm sorry, that is not the label, please. Legend, where the name given for that group. For example, personal information. I would like to group this under personal information. So please give that name as an under the legend tab. Let me back this to another level. Let me start another field set where I'll be collecting your educational details. Give the name to that as a legend educational details. Now start taking whatever you would like to take. For example, if you would like to create what is your qualification, let me try to introduce the radio buttons over here. Label, educate, your qualification, select your qualification, for qualification. Let me give my checkboxes over here. Input, like you might have the multiple qualifications, so we will use the checkboxes here. Input type equals checkbox. I can create the checkboxes in a different way. Take that as in my SSC. Close my input. Oh, similarly, let me take the other important qualifications. Let me take this as an intermediate. The other one, let me stop it here as BTech. You can always take the names or IDs according to that. You give them as an IDs as well. Let's look at this. You see that? It's trying to group under that educational details. Under the personal information, let us try to carry gender, label for gender, Like gender cannot be more than one at a time. So we'll try to use the type as in radio buttons. They give the name as gender, male. Let me close my input. This fine. Paste it for two more times. Let me take this as female and others. Back to our can look at it now. Gender, male, female, and others. Let me try to group this under one thing. Let me try to come that one after the other, please. Well, let me give a break over here. There you go. Right? Like gender can be selected only one, whereas checkboxes can be selected multiple. So every time, do not forget to give attributes to them, like name, value, read only, or disable thing. Right? So here is the different types of input elements. Whenever you would like to take any data of birth of a user, you can go with a date. There are different use cases for each of them. Please feel free to explore all of them. Please visit the URL which I have passed over here and will be seen under the description box. There's another important thing you need to understand the different types of buttons. Let's look at it. We already looked one of the button over here, submit, which will always redirects to the action page, which you have passed over the form argument called action equals to server.php in our example. There is another type of buttons. There are two more types of buttons. Let us try to figure it out. Input type equals to reset, which will always reset the data which you have tried to fill till now. Let's demonstrate that. I'm trying to give some data over here, some password 123. Check the mail, comment something, hello, SSC, intermediate and BTech. Please click on reset. You see that all are been gone. Whenever you feel like you feel there's some wrong data, then please go with and reset. Now let's check out another type of in button. Input type equals button. Like it takes another works according to the function you have passed it to the JavaScript. Right? You- Please look at this. On click, alert equals to hello world. Let me try to take this. On click, this is purely vanilla JavaScript, please. On click, I would like to write a function called alert hello. Hello, please. What's going wrong? Let me try to do this way. Might be confused over there. Right? Let's run this code. Oh, I did not. You see this? There's no name for this. So to do that, let's try to give the value over here. Value equals button. You see that? Hello. These are the three different types of buttons available on the forms. By now, you might have understood what are the forms and how do you collect the different type of data through forms. Let us see you in the next video.